Basically, terms of foreign policy has been defined in various ways by scholars. For instance, according to Joseph Frankel, foreign policy consists of decisions and actions which involve to some appreciable extent relations between one state and others. By this, foreign policies involve a set of actions that are made within states' borders, intended towards forcing existing outside the country's borders. It comprises the formulations and implementations of a set of ideas that govern the behavior of states, while interacting with other states to defend and enhance their national interests. Foreign policies are generally formulated to protect a country's core value and interests, national security, ideological goals, as well as economic prosperity. It is also formulated to safeguard and promote its national interests in the conduct of relations with other countries. Moreover, foreign policy involves both decisions and actions where it comprises to some considerable level relations between states and others. Other than that, foreign policy is basically a matter of saying what a state is going to do. Through it, every state decides what course it will pursue in world affairs within the limits of its strengths and the realities of the external environment. Therefore, foreign policy confers a sense of direction to a state and provides adequate instruments for the convenient journeys towards this direction.
This is the South China Sea. It's estimated nearly a third of the world's trade passes through this body of water. It is also at the heart of a very complicated 21st century territorial dispute. A half dozen governments have competing claims over the South China Sea, including Vietnam, the Philippines, and Malaysia. But the biggest player here is clearly China.
The Spratly Islands represent one of the most difficult ongoing political disputes in Asia. As the potential for oil exploitation in the region becomes more apparent, the complexity of the dispute may increase by an order of magnitude. The Spratly are spread out over a vast area of ocean, measuring some 158,000 square miles. The Spratly Islands are located in the so-called South China Sea and consist of a number of small islands, reefs, atolls, and rocks. These islands have been disputed with varying degrees of intensity for more than 50 years. They continue to be a point of dispute between 6 different states to this day. The Spratly Islands are claimed in whole or part by the People's Republic of China, PRC, the Republic of China, ROC or Taiwan, the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, and Brunei. Now, I will explain about the issues on the island. The Spratly Islands are important for economic and strategic reasons. The Spratly area holds potentially significant but largely unexplored reserve of oil and natural gas. It is a productive area for world fishing. To economic incentive, the Spratly set astride major maritime trade routes to Northeast Asia, giving them added significance as positions from which to monitor maritime activity in the South China Sea, and to potentially base and project military force form. In 2014, China drew increased international attention due to its dredging activities within the Spratly. Amid speculation, it is planning to further develop its military presence in the area. In 2015, satellite imagery revealed that China was rapidly constructing an airfield on Fiery Cross Reef within the Spratly, while continuing its land reclamation activities at other sites. The Philippines claimed part of the area as its territory under UN clause, an agreement part of which have been ratified by the countries involved in the Spratly Island dispute. However, China, PRC, Taiwan, ROC, and Vietnam are the only ones who have made claims based on historical sovereignty of the islands. There are many reasons why many regions are interested in Spratly Island. First is the hydrocarbons, whereby in 1968, oil was discovered in the regions. Next is commercial fishing. The region is one of the world's most productive areas for commercial fishing. And the last one is commercial shipping. The region is one of the busiest shipping lanes in the world. During the 1980s, at least 270 ships passed through the Spratly Island region each day. These are the common issues on Spratly Island dispute.
My name is Nurul Nisa binti Jamaluddin, and I will present about the claimant made by countries over the Spratly Island dispute. There are 6 countries in total which are involved in this ongoing dispute, namely China, Taiwan, Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, and the Philippines. It is being said there are 2 bases of claimant that these countries make, which are the historical factor and the UNCLOS factor. UNCLOS stands for the United Nations Convention of the Law on the Sea. There are 3 countries that claim the Spratly Island based on historical factor, and the other 3 will make claim over the Spratly Island based on the UNCLOS. For the historical basis, China made a claim that Han Dynasty has been existed before, for many hundred years ago, before in the Spratly Island, where they have marked its territory in the map during the time of Eastern Han Dynasty and the Eastern Wu Dynasty. It is being said that the Chinese fishermen has been fishing around that area for 400 years ago. So they claim that they own this Spratly Island. Meanwhile, for the Taiwan, they made the claims over the sovereignty of all the islands in the South China Sea and the jurisdictions over the adjacent water. These include the Spratly Island, Paracel Island, Protos Islands, and the Macclesfield Bank. Taiwan also administered Taiping Island, or as known as Itu Aba, which resides in the Spratly Island, which this Itu Aba is known as the large part of the Spratly Island. For the Vietnam, they made a claim of the right based on the San Francisco Conference that they were saying that China had never claimed the Spratly Island before the year of 1940s, and Vietnam, they claim that Vietnam has actively ruled the Paracel and the Spratly Island ever since 17th century, and they have documents to prove it. As for the other 3 countries, which are Brunei, Malaysia, and the Philippines, they don't have historical background that related with the Spratly Island, but they made the claimants over the exclusive economic zone, or known as EEZ, over this dispute, where the Brunei made claimants based on the EEZ, where they claim that the southern part of the the southern part of the Spratly Island is in the Brunei's continental shelf. Meanwhile, for the Malaysia, they practice military control over the area and they occupied 3 islands within its continental shelf. Malaysia also argues on the res nullius term, where the Spratly Island is said to be ownerless property, and Malaysia believes that the island is free to be acquired. And lastly, for the Philippines, apart from the res nullius, they also raise about the sovereignty of the Spratly Islands, and they also made a claim over the geographical factor of the Spratly Island itself, where they believe that Spratly Island is much more closer to their territory, so they have that entitlement to that island.
Hi, my name is Nurul Alia binti Johari. So next, let's move on to the challenges that arise throughout the claimant process by the countries involved. Firstly, there has been a conflict occurred between Vietnam and China. Among the conflicts that have been occurred were more than 17 Vietnamese soldiers being killed when the Chinese seized paracels from Vietnam in 1974. This has led to unwanted bloodshed and lives just to get a claim on the island. Secondly, in 1988, the 2 sides had a quarrel in the Spratlys, causing Vietnam to lose about 60 sailors because China was not satisfied that Vietnam wanted to gain part of the island. Thirdly, in late 2012, there were unconfirmed allegations that the Chinese Navy sabotaged 2 Vietnamese exploration operations, leading to massive anti-China protests in the Vietnamese streets. Lastly, in May 2014, the introduction of a drilling rig by China into waters near the Paracel Island caused several collisions between Vietnamese and Chinese ships. Thus, this shows that China is trying its best to get the part of the island that is supposed to belong to the Vietnam, so that until many conflicts have arisen and claimed the lives of dozens of Vietnamese people. Furthermore, the second challenge is there has a standoff going on between the Philippines and China, which is in the early 2012, China and the Philippines were embroiled in a lengthy maritime dispute and accused each other of committing aggression in the Scarborough Shoal. Later in the 2013, Manila brought China to the UN Tribunal under the auspices of the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea to challenge its claim. And after that, the next challenge is regarding the regional power clash between China and the United States. The clash occurred when the warships of the two countries started moving to the location where the Petronas exploration ship West Capella, which is in Malaysia's exclusive economic zone, was reportedly approached by Chinese Coast Guard ships and caused a standoff. This has led to the unwanted conflict between China and the United States to secure their claim to the Spratly Island. Lastly, it has also resulted in the invasion of Chinese Coast Guard vessels into the exclusive economic zone, or known as EEZ, Malaysia and other ASEAN countries, as well as violations of law regarding the existence of the 9-dash line by China. In this case, China claims that the entire South China Sea belongs to them based solely on history and nostalgia. Furthermore, China's action of creating the 9-dash line is clearly in violation of the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea 1982, which places the sea 200 nautical miles from the coast as the country's EEZ. Therefore, we can see that there are various challenges, conflicts, and standoffs that have occurred throughout the process to claim their respective parts of the Spratly Island. This has caused progress to solve this problem to continue over a long period of time.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is AM2284E and I will continue the presentation with the solution made by the agency to resolve the Spratly Island dispute. So there are 4 solutions taken by the agency in order to resolve this dispute, which by having Kuala Lumpur Declaration 1971, having an ASEAN Regional Forum, having a declaration on the conduct of parties in the South China Sea, and also the creation of an International Joint Commission. In resolving the conflict in Spratly Island, ASEAN, or also known as the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, has tried and participating to find a way to resolve the conflict that occur in the South China Sea. So there are several multilateral agreements that have been made in an effort to resolve this conflict. So one of the agreements that have been signed by ASEAN is an agreement that called as Kuala Lumpur Declaration 1971. So this agreement was signed by the foreign minister of ASEAN countries, which are Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, and Thailand, which it discussed about the area of peace, freedom, and neutrality, or also known as ZOP. In this case, in order to resolve the conflict over the Spratly Island, ASEAN has helped the countries involved resolve the conflict through discussion and negotiation. And from this discussion and negotiation conducted, the country have agree to find a solution amicably peace through negotiation, establishing trust in ASEAN, establishing cooperation between countries, and strive not to use force of arms to resolve this conflict. So it is clear that ASEAN seeks to be a neutral and independent third party. The other way to resolve the conflict in Spratly Island is by having an ASEAN Regional Forum. So this forum is one of the efforts undertaken by ASEAN to consult and discuss the problem in the Southeast Asian region. ASEAN Regional Forum, ARF, is comprised of 10 ASEAN members countries, and it also includes the United States, Australia, Japan, Canada, South Korea, Russia, China, and several other European countries. So the ASEAN Regional Forum is a forum for official dialogue between government and a joint venture in developing mutual trust among Asia-Pacific countries, and it is to discuss about the regional peace issues and directly and more openly. As for example, this forum that was held in Brunei Darussalam, and there are 3 concepts were reached in resolving the South China Sea dispute, which are namely confidence building measures (CBM), preventive diplomacy (PD), and also conflict resolution. So the confidence building measure is about how conflicting parties can reduce tension between them, aim at finding solution and more effective measures to pave the way for more comprehensive agreement to be reached. Meanwhile, the preventive diplomacy is a collective action taken to prevent conflict from the beginning to establish peace. And the last one is conflict resolution, where it has better capabilities than confidence building measures and preventive diplomacy. So in this case, at first, China, Malaysia, and other several countries refused to discuss this dispute together and only wanted this issue to be resolved bilaterally, which is only one way only, but when the confidence building measures and preventive diplomacy has carried out, China is finally ready to discuss the problem in various ways with other ASEAN countries to find a way out of the problem through peaceful means. The third way to resolve the conflict in Spratly Island is by having the declaration on the conduct of parties in the South China Sea. So in December 2002, ASEAN Foreign Minister and China's Deputy Foreign Minister, which is Wang Yi, has signed a declaration on the conduct of parties in the South China Sea, which it aimed at preventing territorial conflict and reducing the risk of conflict in the South China Sea. So next, in 2003, China has signed an agreement that called as the Treaty of Amity and Cooperation in Southeast Asia, which is a peace agreement between Southeast ASEAN countries. These two agreements mark as a good relation between China and ASEAN member states in resolving the Spratly and Paracel Islands conflict in the South China Sea. So, in addition, this agreement is also extended to other agreements between China and ASEAN cooperate in the military field as well as joint management of natural resources found in the South China Sea. Besides the creation of an international joint commission through the participation of an equal number of representatives from each disputed party may be one important means to settle Spratly disputes. So for example, in 1909, the US and Canada created a joint commission to deal with a large number of issues concerning industrial development, air pollution and boundary waters because they recognized that each country was affected by the other's action in lake and river system along the border. The two countries cooperate to manage this water and to protect them for the benefit of today's citizens and future generation. So this commission was established as to resolve the problem along the Canada-US border. It has become a globally perceived effective structure to manage changing bilateral issues as well as a creative model for dispute resolution. So the joint commission between Canada and US may be as an example for use within the Spratly dispute. So we can see the settlement through a joint commission has more advantages than a simple arbitration because the questions of sovereignty can be decided at all once. So the decision made by an independent regional commission that equally represents all the disputing parties may have more legitimacy and weight than an international arbitration. That's all from me. Thank you.
To sum up, the disputes in the Spratly Islands, which situated geographically in the southern parts of the South China Sea, has caused crisis between several countries. This is as a potential flashpoint threatening regional peace and stability. The overlapping sovereignty and jurisdiction claims over the area have implications for not only South China Sea, littoral states, but also external power. Therefore, it is important to implement the foreign policies in the Spratly Island issue, where they have acted in particular ways towards how they solve the dispute. In fact, foreign policy also indicates how the decision units influence government behaviors and the roles of domestic politics. So with this all from us, thank you.